Throughout Imperial space, the fighting gradually ceased. Human ships took up positions around key worlds, their presence a silent reminder of the new order. The interface began the process of untangling its quantum tendrils from Varum systems, leaving their technology functional but forever changed. In the ruins of the Imperial Palace, as human peacekeepers secured the building, Xenfor found himself face to face with Admiral Helena Santos. Her expression held no triumph, only quiet determination. "Why?" he asked simply. "Why maintain the deception for so long? Why not reveal your power sooner?" Helena's response would echo through the halls of history, "Because we needed to be certain. Not just of victory in battle, but of victory in peace. Your empire's greatest mistake wasn't attacking us. It was believing that technological advancement alone equals civilization." Dawn of a new era. 1 year after the surrender of the Varum Imperium, the great hall of the newly established Galactic Concordat hummed with activity. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered in the massive chamber, constructed in orbit around a neutral star. The station itself was a testament to humanity's hidden power, built using technology that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Admiral Helena Santos stood at the central podium, her uniform pristine, her eyes scanning the assembled delegates. Former enemies sat alongside ancient allies. Varum diplomats, their once proud bearing now tempered by humility, shared space with representatives from previously subjugated species. Above them all, the station's quantum arrays projected real-time translations in hundreds of languages. A century ago, Helena began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. Humanity made a choice. We could have emerged then, showcasing our power and claiming our place among the stars. Instead, we chose patience, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. The holographic displays around her showed images from the brief but devastating war. Human ships phasing through spacetime, Varum fleets crumbling before advanced weapons, the interface spreading through enemy networks like digital wildfire. But our goal was never conquest, she continued. The preservation protocol wasn't just about hiding our strength. It was about understanding how to use it responsibly. In the medical labs beneath the station, Dr. Tanaka worked alongside Varum scientists, sharing medical technology that had been kept secret for millennia. Diseases that had plagued various species for generations were being cured. The knowledge humanity had preserved was transforming lives across the galaxy. Captain Winters, now Fleet Commander Winters, coordinated from the Prometheus as joint human-alien crews, learned to operate the new generation of patrol ships. The vessels were smaller than the mighty ships of the war, designed not for combat, but for exploration and peacekeeping. Our ancestors saw this moment, Helena explained to the assembly. They saw that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. They left us their technology, yes, but more importantly, they left us their vision of what the galaxy could become. The interface, now accessible to all member worlds through carefully controlled interfaces, had become the foundation of a new galactic civilization. Its quantum networks allowed for instantaneous communication and cooperation across vast distances, breaking down the barriers that had kept species isolated and suspicious. In the ruins of the Varum Imperial Palace, now transformed into a museum and cultural center, High Chancellor Xenfor, now simply Citizen Xenfor, guided groups of young Varum through exhibits detailing their species' history. The lessons of pride and fall were being taught to ensure they would never be forgotten. The Empire's Reckoning. The Imperial Palace on Var Prime shook as another explosion rocked the capital city. High Chancellor Xenfor stood before the Grand Council, his ornate robes covered in dust from the crumbling ceiling. The proud leaders of the Varum Imperium, who had ruled the Eastern Spiral for millennia, now sat in stunned silence as their world collapsed around them. How? The word escaped Xenfor's lips like a prayer. How did we not see this coming? The holographic displays showed the impossible. Human forces had penetrated deep into Imperial space, bypassing their strongest defenses as if they didn't exist. But worse than the military defeats were the signs of internal collapse. Centuries of careful infiltration by human agents had planted the seeds of destruction throughout their society. In the military command center beneath the palace, Fleet Master Calvek watched as another defensive line crumbled. The humans weren't just winning. They were systematically dismantling everything the Verum had built. "Our quantum communication networks are compromised," a junior officer reported, her voice trembling. "Something is converting our secure channels into transmission nodes for an alien AI construct." The interface had infected their systems like a digital plague, turning their own technology against them. Ships would suddenly lock out their crews, defense platforms would target their own vessels, and vital systems would shut down without warning. On the industrial world of Var Secundus, the largest shipyards in the Empire erupted in a chain of quantum detonations. Human sleeper agents, positioned over centuries, had finally activated. Some were synthetic humans, indistinguishable from organic beings. Others were Verum citizens who had been secretly working for Earth for generations, their loyalty secured through means the Empire was only now beginning to understand. "We're receiving reports of widespread revolts in the outer systems," another counselor announced. "The subjugated species, they're rising up. Someone has been arming them, preparing them for this moment." Exenthor closed his eyes in despair. The Empire had ruled through fear and technological superiority, keeping their client species in careful submission. But now, with their military in chaos and their technology failing, those careful bonds of control were shattering. In orbit above Var Prime, the pride of the Imperial fleet gathered for a last desperate defense. 10,000 ships, the most powerful armada ever assembled by the Empire, prepared to make their stand. They never got the chance. Reality itself seemed to tear open as human vessels emerged from dimensional rifts that shouldn't have been possible. Leading them was the Prometheus, its hull gleaming with impossible colors as it phased between dimensions. "This is Fleet Admiral Nakamura of the Earth Defense Force." The transmission cut through all frequencies, impossible to ignore or block. "Your empire is finished. Surrender now, and you will be treated with mercy. Resist, and you will cease to exist." In the Imperial Palace, the Council watched as their fleet was systematically dismantled. Human ships wielded technology that made their most advanced weapons look primitive by comparison. Quantum torpedoes bypassed their strongest shields, while temporal weapons aged their newest vessels into clouds of rust and debris. "They've been playing us," Calvek realized, watching another battle group vanish into a localized singularity. All this time, while we thought we were the advanced ones, they were watching, waiting, preparing. The human fleet's attack was precisely calculated. They didn't target population centers or civilian infrastructure. Instead, they systematically eliminated military capabilities and command structures, like surgeons excising a cancer. Ancient records, dating back to the founding of the Empire, contained warnings about Earth. Their ancestors had encountered remnants of human technology and had chosen to suppress the information, believing they could prevent humanity's reemergence. "We didn't contain them," Vental whispered to himself, reading the ancient texts. "We gave them exactly what they needed, time to perfect their technology, and a reason to unite against us." As the palace defenses failed, High Chancellor Exenthor made his final decision. With trembling hands, he activated the emergency broadcast system, reaching every remaining corner of the Empire. To all citizens of the Imperium, his voice carried the weight of millennia of history. "I hereby announce our unconditional surrender to the forces of Earth. All military personnel are ordered to stand down. The age of the Verum Imperium is over." As officers and crew members interfaced with their vessels for the first time, they experienced what their ancestors had planned for them. Each ship was practically alive, its quantum systems capable of responding to thought and intention. The boundary between human and machine blurred, creating something entirely new. The interface was coordinating it all, its vast quantum networks ensuring that humanity's reawakening proceeded according to the ancient plans. In every hidden facility, Crews were discovering capabilities that seemed like magic, yet were based on science that humanity had secretly preserved and advanced for millennia. Dr. Tanaka, still processing the loss of her colleagues from the Zenith station, stood before one of the newly awakened vessels. Its hull seemed to shimmer with impossible colors, its surface responding to her presence. "These ships," she whispered, "they're not just weapons, are they?" Helena shook her head. "They're our legacy. Each one contains libraries of knowledge, scientific achievements, and technological innovations that we've been refining in secret." The Verum Imperium thought they were swatting an insect. Instead, they've awakened something they couldn't possibly understand. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet was coming to life. Soon, the galaxy would learn that Earth wasn't just another primitive world to be conquered or culled. It was the sleeping giant that had chosen its moment to awaken, and its fury would reshape the very foundations of galactic society. Operation Starfall. The void between stars erupted with quantum distortions as humanity's fleet emerged from fold space. 5,000 ships appeared simultaneously, their arrival precisely calculated by the interface to create a perfect encirclement of the Verum Empire's primary defense fleet at Nexus Station Alpha. Fleet Admiral Kenzo Nakamura stood on the bridge of the flagship Prometheus, his mind seamlessly connected to the ship's quantum networks through neural interfaces. Around him, bridge crew members worked in perfect synchronization, their thoughts flowing through the ship's systems like water. "All battle groups report ready," Lieutenant Commander Diana Rodriguez announced, her voice calm despite the historic moment. "The Verum fleet has detected our presence. They're moving to combat positions." The Verum response was exactly as the interface had predicted. Their ships, sleek and powerful by conventional standards, formed up in traditional combat arrays. They had no reason to expect anything beyond standard space warfare tactics. "Send the message," Kenzo commanded. "Let's give them one chance." Across thousands of kilometers of space, the human fleet broadcast a single demand in all known galactic languages: surrender your fleet and withdraw from human space. This is your only warning. The Verum response came swiftly, a barrage of plasma torpedoes and energy weapons fire that lit up the void. Their attack was coordinated, powerful, and by their standards, overwhelming. It was also completely ineffective. The human ship's metamaterial hulls shifted phase, allowing the energy weapons to pass harmlessly through them. Plasma torpedoes were caught in localized time dilation fields, their destructive power dissipating into nothing. "All ships," Kenzo's voice was steady, "execute Operation Starfall. Show them what humanity has become." The human fleet's response transformed the battlefield into a demonstration of physics-defying warfare. Ships phased in and out of conventional spacetime, appearing inside the Verum formation. Quantum-locked beams of concentrated reality distortion carved through Verum shields as if they didn't exist. In the CIC of the Prometheus, tactical displays showed the battle unfolding across multiple dimensions. The interface was coordinating the entire fleet's actions, allowing them to fight with a level of synchronization that bordered on precognition. "Sir," Diana called out, "the Verum are attempting to call in reinforcements. Their quantum communications are being blocked by our null field generators." On a nearby Verum command ship, Admiral Vorthak watched in horror as his fleet's most powerful weapons proved useless against the human vessels. These weren't the primitive ships he had expected. They were something else entirely. "Impossible," he whispered as another Verum battlecruiser was reduced to its component atoms by weapons that shouldn't exist. They were nothing. They were. As she spoke, the first wave of ships began rising from their hidden berths. They were beautiful and terrible, their hulls made of materials that seemed to drink in light itself. These weren't the crude dreadnoughts of science fiction. They were the pinnacle of human engineering, built by a civilization that had chosen to hide its light until the perfect moment. The Verum Imperium had made a fatal mistake. They thought they were culling an upstart species. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what it needed: a reason to unveil its true power. Legacy of the Ancients. The ancient facilities beneath Mount Olympus on Mars had remained dormant for 10 millennia. Now, as emergency activation codes ripple through quantum networks, vast chambers illuminated with artificial sunlight, Captain Zora Winters stood in the central control room, watching as row after row of ships awakened from their long slumber. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the cathedral-like space. Lieutenant James Okonjo's fingers danced across holographic displays. "All primary systems responding, Captain. The interface is integrating with the fleet's neural networks. These ships, they're beyond anything we trained for." The vessels before them weren't simply weapons of war. They were the culmination of humanity's first golden age. Each ship contained technology that had been refined and perfected over centuries of secret development. Their hulls were composed of adaptive metamaterials that could phase shift to avoid damage. Their cores housed artificial quantum singularities that provided virtually limitless power. In the command center of the vault, Admiral Helena Santos was coordinating the global awakening. Holographic displays showed similar facilities activating across the solar system, beneath the ice of Europa, in the clouds of Venus, and in the asteroid belt. Each installation housed different aspects of humanity's hidden arsenal. "Ma'am," a young technician called out, "we're receiving a priority message from the Lunar Deep Archive." Helena's heart skipped a beat. The lunar facility housed humanity's most closely guarded secrets. "Put it through." The holographic image of Dr. Raj Patel, chief archivist of the Lunar Deep Archive, materialized before them. "Admiral, the Ancestral Codex is awakening. It's showing us everything." The Ancestral Codex was more than just a database. It was a living record of human achievement, preserved through the ages by quantum-locked memory crystals. As its secrets unfurled, the true scope of humanity's heritage became clear. 10,000 years ago, humanity had reached heights that would humble even the most advanced current civilizations. They had mastered manipulation of space-time, achieved consciousness transfer, and unlocked the fundamental forces of the universe. But their oracles and predictive engines had warned them of a coming dark age, a time when humanity would need to hide its light from hostile eyes. Rather than face extinction or subjugation, our ancestors had made an incredible sacrifice. They had deliberately regressed their civilization, hiding their most advanced technology and knowledge in secret vaults across the solar system. They left behind the interface, an AI guardian that would guide humanity's rediscovery of its heritage when the time was right. In the vault's primary briefing chamber, Helena addressed the assembled commanders of Earth's hidden fleet. The room was filled with men and women who had dedicated their lives to preparing for this moment, each one a guardian of humanity's secret legacy. The preservation protocol was never just about hiding. Helena explained, her voice firm. It was about survival. Our ancestors knew that if we revealed our true capabilities too soon, we would become targets for every advanced civilization in the galaxy. They gave us time to perfect our technology, to learn from their achievements and improve upon them. On the main display, tactical data showed the Verum Imperium's fleet movements. They were expanding their patrol routes, likely searching for any remaining human outposts. They still believed they were dealing with a primitive species. "The ships we've awakened," Helena continued, "represent 10,000 years of hidden development. Each vessel contains technology that's been tested and refined in absolute secrecy. We're not just matching current galactic standards, we're exceeding them by centuries." In orbit around Mars, Captain Winters was overseeing the activation of the first wave of ships. These weren't the crude dreadnoughts that science fiction had imagined. They were elegant, almost organic in their design, their hulls rippling with patterns that seemed to bend light itself. "The neural interfaces are online," Lieutenant Okonjo reported. "The ships are accepting their crews." The catalyst. The Zenith Research Station hung silently in orbit around Jupiter's moon Europa, its dark hull barely visible against the vast expanse of space. Commander Rishi Patil stood at the observation deck, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he watched ice samples being brought in from the moon's surface. 20 years of research into potential extraterrestrial microbial life had led to this moment. Their breakthrough was imminent. The first warning came from Dr. Yuki Tanaka in the long-range sensor lab. "Commander, multiple vessels just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our system. Configuration unknown." Rishi's fingers tightened on the railing. First contact. They had known this day would come, but not like this. Not with ships that moved with such predatory grace. The vessels belonged to the Verum Imperium, though the humans wouldn't learn this name until much later. The Imperium had ruled the galaxy's eastern spiral for millennia, seeing themselves as shepherds of lesser species. They had detected the humans' quantum signature experiments, and they did not approve of such rapid technological advancement from an unregistered species. The attack came without warning or demands. Green plasma fire lit up the void, cutting through the research station's civilian-grade shields like paper. Rishi watched in horror as sections of the station began breaking apart, his people, scientists, researchers, dreamers, being pulled into the merciless vacuum of space. Emergency protocols. He shouted into the station-wide comm. "All personnel to escape pods. Authorization Patel 7. The blast caught him mid-sentence, throwing him across the observation deck. Through blurring vision, he saw Dr. Tanaka helping him up, dragging him toward the emergency pods. They could hear the screams through the comm system, cut short one by one as the station died around them. Of the 342 crew members aboard the Zenith research station, only 17 survived. The Verum ships departed as quickly as they had arrived, leaving the wreckage to drift in Europa's orbit. They sent no message, made no demands. To them, this was merely pest control. They had no way of knowing they had just awakened a sleeping giant. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in a facility known only as the Vault, Admiral Helena Santos watched the footage from Europa with cold fury. Around her, the members of Earth's Secret Security Council sat in stunned silence. For 50 years, they had prepared for this moment, hoping it would never come. The Preservation Protocol. General Victor Petrov's voice was barely a whisper. Helena nodded slowly. "Initiate Phase 1. Contact all sleeper facilities. Wake the interface." Across the globe, hidden bunkers hummed to life. In the Mariana Trench, beneath the Antarctic ice, and buried in mountain ranges, massive doors began to open. The interface, a quantum AI developed from recovered ancient human technology, activated its primary systems for the first time in decades. What the Verum Imperium didn't know, what no alien civilization had discovered, was that humanity's current technological state was a carefully crafted facade. 10,000 years ago, human civilization had reached heights that would stagger even the Imperium. But they had seen something coming, something that made them hide their true power, burying their most advanced technology and knowledge deep within the Earth. They had left themselves breadcrumbs, ways to rediscover their legacy when the time was right. The interface had guided this rediscovery, helping humanity secretly rebuild while maintaining the convincing appearance of a young, developing species. Now, in bunkers around the world, massive hangar bays opened to reveal ships that defied conventional physics. These weren't merely warships. They were the products of 10,000 years of hidden advancement, weapons platforms that could bend reality itself. "Send the call," Helena commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of history pressing down on this moment. "All sleeper agents, all hidden facilities. The time of hiding is over." The surviving Zenith crew members were brought to the vault. Dr. Tanaka, still shaking from the attack, watched in awe as holographic displays showed thousands of ships being brought online around the globe. "I don't understand," she whispered. "All this time." "We had to wait," Helena explained. "We had to be sure we could win not just the first battle, but the war that would follow. The preservation protocol wasn't just about hiding our power. It was about perfecting it."